All right, welcome back, ESL. I hope that you had a nice break. I hope that your Canadian Studies quiz went well. We are going to start our next lesson. Okay, so like I mentioned before, the Canadian Studies unit quiz has been posted in Google Classroom. So if you have not yet completed this quiz, that's okay. Just do it now. Do it as soon as possible. I'm going to be sending back grades over email. So they're going to come in either today or tomorrow. So if you haven't completed the quiz, make sure to get that done as quickly as possible. Once again, it's posted in Google Classroom. Okay, so grades for tests and assignments. So for my COs, you guys, of course, wrote short stories. For my AOs and BOs, you guys wrote paragraph tests. You did this before the break. I've been holding on to your grades just because I wasn't so sure what was going to be happening with, of course, everything that's going on if we are going to be doing grades. But I've gotten the okay to send you back these grades. So I'm going to start sending them now, this week and next week. So I'm sorry for keeping those to myself, but now that I have the okay, you're going to start getting those back. The next thing I want to talk to you about. So I've gotten a lot of emails from students who've been asking me about reading. I guess a lot of you guys want to practice your reading, which is excellent. And I was wondering if you were interested, would you like to have a reading session every Friday? So on Google Hangouts, we would have everybody in the class together and we would read a book together. And that way, we can practice some reading and just sort of work on that instead. I'm only going to do this if I feel like students are interested, because I don't want to be reading a book by myself. But if I feel like a lot of students are interested, I would be very happy to do this. So it would be two different books, one book for my AOs and BOs, and another book for my COs. It would be two different meetings, and so we would just have one book that we would read for many weeks, just to kind of practice our reading together. So let me know if that's interesting to you. We're going to get back to that a little bit later. So as you guys know, the Canadian Studies unit is over, so we are starting a new unit. We're learning about something new, which I am going to be talking about today. We are going to be starting our Media Studies unit. And if you don't know what Media Studies is, that's okay, because that's why you're here. Okay, so what is Media Studies? What are we going to be learning about in this unit? So Media Studies is just basically the study of mass communication. So TV, radio, social media like Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, emails, movies, newspapers, these are all different types of media. And what we're going to be learning about is how do these things affect our lives? How can we use these tools to make our lives better? What are things that we need to be aware of when we're using these things in our life? So I feel like this unit is going to be really helpful, especially considering a lot of you guys are using media right now. And I also love this unit. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and just really interesting. So we're going to be learning about different types of media and how to use them in our lives in a really helpful way. So just a brief outline of some of the things that we're going to be learning in a little more detail. So the first one is formal email writing. Here's the thing. I know a lot of you guys will tell me, I know how to use email and I don't need to learn, but email writing is really important, especially in the workplace. When you guys go to your jobs after you leave high school, you will be using email a lot. And it's really important to know how to use email in a work setting. So rather than just chatting with a friend, or it's very different from, let's say, texting or sending someone a DM on Instagram, email should be used kind of as a formal writing tool. It's for work, for being professional. And I really want to teach you guys those skills so that when you have jobs, when you're out in the working world, you'll feel really comfortable using email as a working tool. So we're going to understand how to use email in the work setting as if you were at your job, and understanding the tools used in email writing, how to write the best emails possible in English. Because there's lots of sort of tricks and twists that are usually found in email writing in English, and we're going to talk about those. The second one is advertising on social media and TV. So I'm sure you guys have been on Instagram before and you see a picture of somebody, but if you have a look at the tags, you actually find out that they're trying to sell you something. Maybe it's an advertisement for clothing or makeup or anything like this. These are quite common, right? So this is an example of advertising on social media, and advertising is really everywhere. Very simply, advertising is somebody trying to sell you something. So again, here we have this picture of this woman and she's drinking her tea, but if we look closely, we see it's actually an advertisement for the clothing that she's wearing. So this company is trying to sell you clothing. So this is an example of advertising on social media. I want us to look into this type of advertising, whether it's on TV or it's on Instagram or Facebook, and we want to understand how it works and how it affects us. It doesn't mean we need to be scared of advertising at all. Advertising is an important part of life, but it's important to know where advertising is and what it does. So that's going to be an important part of media studies. The other one we're going to be talking about is the news. So news is everywhere, as you guys know. I'm sure you're reading a lot of news as a result of what's going on with the world right now. And we're going to talk about fact versus opinion, which we're going to get into later. I'm sure you guys have heard of this word before, fake news, or this phrase. Basically, has anyone ever read a headline that sounds like something totally crazy, like the Earth has 3 moons, and then of course you click on the link and you realize that it's not true at all, it was never true. This is a kind of example of fake news. So understanding the difference between what is real and what is fake can be really difficult on the internet because there's so many headlines coming at us. So what we're going to be learning about is how to spot something that's real, how to spot something that's fake, and how to find news that you can trust. Because it's really important to find news that you can trust so that you can understand what's going on with the world without being afraid of being tricked or being confused. So, your task for today. I wanted the lesson to be nice and easy today. I just want us to understand what we're going to be learning about, which understanding the idea of media studies. So very simply, you guys are just going to be filling out a Google survey posted in Google Classroom. We're gonna be checking off like different topics that you might want to learn about most, and you're gonna add any new topics that you would also like to learn about. So if you guys go to your Google Classroom, and you'll see the it'll just pop open here. You're going to see Media Studies Learning Questions. So the first thing you're going to answer is what level of ESL are you in? So let's say I'm in AOBO. I'll check that off. What would you like to learn about in media studies? So I've included the ones that we've talked about already, and I've also added a place if you want to add anything. So if there's anything that you would like to learn about with media, I'd like you to place it in here. So let's say I want to learn about email writing and news. You can check off as many as you want or as few as you want. Maybe I want to check off all 3. And let's say I want to add something. I really want to learn about newspapers. I can add that in. You can add in whatever you would like that you feel like is appropriate to media studies. So anything that you'd like there. Or you can leave it blank. That's up to you. The next one is a question about reading on Fridays, which I mentioned earlier in the videos. Would you be interested in weekly reading of a book on Fridays over Google Hangouts? So it would either be we have 2 classes of media studies and then 1 Friday of reading, or we just don't worry about reading and we just do 3 classes of media studies. So you can say, yes, I would like to do that. You can say, no, I'm not really interested in that. I don't really want to read on Fridays. Or maybe you write, you want to read on Thursdays instead. Oops. Thursdays instead. Okay. Whatever your answer is totally fine. And then you're just going to submit it. Boop. Just like that. All right. Perfect. Okay. Fix up my screen. Sorry, guys. All right. And that's the end of the lesson for today. There's going to be no video tomorrow. Our next lesson is going to be on Friday. Please don't be afraid to email me if you ever have questions. As you guys know, I'm always available. And that's going to be all from me. So just a fun fact from Mr. Fish, 300 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute, which is crazy to think about. He's going to start sharing some social media fun facts for you. All right, that's all from me, and I will see you on Friday.